Hey, my friends, how are you today? Happy Sunday to you. I bet you are waiting for the Super Bowl to start, and I apologize for you getting to see me all mess around with this microphone. And somebody pointed out it is teeny weeny, but guess what? Life is a daggone fun, so I'm going to keep on digging it. Thank you all who are here right now. And a good friend of mine, Logo, is actually on the stream, and he's trying to send me a Zoom link. So if you see me turning away, that's because I'm just trying to figure this all out. Now, today's live stream, even though the Super Bowl is coming up, is about, we talk a lot on this channel about, okay, we stopped drinking, we're sober, on and on. But exactly what did we have to do in order to be sober now and be able to live the life that we're living? That's what today's video is all about. And if you're new to sobriety, or if you're trying to get sober, and that's the last time I'm going to use that word, sober and sobriety, because there's a method that each different person uses in order to quit drinking, quit doing drugs, quit doing bad things that they don't want to do anymore. And I don't know if you guys can see so far away. Just let me know, and I'll try to get that camera closer to me. I'm just trying to switch my account right now on my YouTube just to see if I can see what Lobo sent to me. And this is madness. I got too much going on over here. So how is everybody today? Feel free to chime in. Feel free to drop a comment. Feel free to participate in the chat as it goes. And I'm going to try to get to this question real quick on my pad so that way I can see the comments and see exactly what everybody's, what everybody's doing. There we go. So, it is great to see you guys. I am grateful for another day sober. I am going on to my live stream here on my iPad just so I can see the comments. Welcome, Steve. Welcome, I hope I said this right. Akesho. I might have said that wrong, but I do apologize. Welcome to the channel. I know it's the first time I think I've seen you here. I have seen you in the comments before. And if I do look to the side, don't get too distracted because honestly, I can't see that far away. I'm getting a little up there in age and it's a little hard for me sometimes. I don't know, operate like I used to. So I'm just going to read this real quick from Akeso 140. Got sick of the BS. I didn't want it anymore. Hit my last bottom. Quit 16 years ago, and that is not now, my friend. Congratulations. No meetings, no counselors. Used previous education on a medical level to understand what was going to happen. So that falls right in line with today's topic. And Mr. Lobo, if I miss getting on this Zoom, perhaps you can drop that right into this chat. Maybe I can navigate to it from there. It'd be cool to run that in conjunction. And I was actually trying to get some folks on here as co-hosts because, I can talk all day, but it's always good to get a second perspective, and which is why I love this chat. I do wish YouTube would put it to where chat can come through, but I can understand how that might be a little bit of caution because people say some wild stuff, and I'm pretty sure that with the whole screening process and all that, they don't want it in here. But that's besides the point. Give up the guilt. What happened while you were drinking? Get this clear. Absolutely. And that again, and that's what today's live stream is all about, is what did we do in order to stop drinking? As I said in the beginning, on this channel, during my sobriety, and if we're getting some lag, I apologize. The bandwidth up here is terrible, but we're just going to drive on. Hopefully you get some value from today's live stream because that's what it's all about, recovering together. And I got this here, not to promote it or anything, but I'm going to tell you a little story about something holiday, and I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll just be real quick. For me, it took a lot of things. For me, it took more than AA. It took more than counselors. It took more than therapy in order to quit drinking. But where it started for me was, and I'm sorry. Hey Steve, what's going on, man? Where it started for me is I slammed into the rock bottom. I mean, I hit that thing head on, and I did not see a way that life was going to change for me. I didn't see a way that things were going to get any better. But how did that all happen? I almost killed myself in my last relapse, and that is not a joke, and that is not to be dramatic, and that is not to provide shock value to anybody. It's just to tell you what it was for me. Before that, and this is where different methods come into play. Before that, my wife had begged me over and over and over to go to Alcoholics Anonymous, to check out a meeting, to talk to somebody, to try to find out why the heck it is that I can't seem to let go of these 12 ounces of freedom. because that's what I used to call them. I still got my mic. I'm doing good today. And so I went to these meetings and I sat through people's mumbo jumbo and I listened to their success stories and all those wonderful things, and life is so grand for them and blah, 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 because that's what it sounded like in my head. I'm not saying Alcoholics Anonymous doesn't work. I'm not saying it is, but it did work for me, but not at that point. So I decided that I knew best, and I decided that I could control my drinking. I decided that daggone it, you know what? If I want to stop, I'm going to stop. That's not the case in my case, because I was in fact an alcoholic. And as you guys get ready for tonight's Super Bowl, and as you prepare your parties and everything else, I'm not trying to tell anybody not to drink, but I will say not to drink if you're an alcoholic like I was. Does that make sense, Kim Nichols? If so, drop it in the comments below. And I'm going to read this real quick before I drive on from Halamovic. I may have read that wrong, but hey, welcome. This person writes, my body is exhausted. I cannot take it anymore. Speed or booze. That's not the only reason, i.e. health reasons. True. Okay, that can be a stop all for people, and it should be a stop to the point where you're getting bogged down, to the point where you are at risk of either organ failure, having a heart attack, liver disease, brain function, you know, because alcohol affects your brain and you can develop what's called wet brain, and you can lose a lot of permanent memory and never get it back, as well as get locked in dementia. So there are a lot of primary health reasons to quit drinking. Thank you for that comment. I appreciate that. Mount Washington is a hard climb to the top, but if you have ever tried it, you know Tuckerman's Ravens Trail is a staircase, step after step to the top. I like that. And I like that because I'm going to talk about taking those steps in just a little bit. But for now, I'm going to go back to what I tried. You know, so I tried the method of my ego. I tried I can do it on my own. I tried to cut back, and I tried to say, I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to do this. If I get promoted, I'm not going to drink. All these things, all these milestones that I set for myself to say, you know what? I have control over this. And it was the same philosophy with my drinking. And I'm leaning a little closer, hopefully, because it looks like I'm super far away. The irony of me saying I had control over everything is the fact that I had control over nothing. My alcohol had complete control of me. Those 12 ounces of freedom made me a slave to the bottle for the better part of 23 years. And that's not an exaggeration. Mr. Lobo's in the comments, if he's still there. Mr. Lobo's in the comments, and he can tell you a few things because I actually lived with Mr. Lobo, and he knew me in some of the darkest points in my life. And, you know, I'm glad him and I are still friends, because some of the things I did to him through my drinking were absolutely horrendous. And you should never take advantage of a friend the way that I did. But in alcoholism or in addiction, that's our go-to, is to take advantage of someone as hard as we can, get everything we can, and drive on to the next person because we've exhausted everything with this person. Do you think, as I look at this, do you think it would be helpful if I drop off of one of these streams? I think what I can do is view it on the mobile device, and that may help with some of the lag. Tell me what you think in the comments. Okay. So after I went to these blind meetings, and after I blind meeting, I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't listening, and I didn't have any inclination of doing any kind of daggone work. And real quick, I'm always segueing, and that's because during live streams, if I could hear somebody else talk, that would be fantastic. But because I can't, I gotta refer to these comments. I see Steve and a few other folks talking together. And that is the reason why I love blogging. That is the reason why I love this opportunity for people to get together and help each other and support each other in either stopping drinking or reaching recovery, or just going day by day, getting that support they need, because if we can't support each other, we might as well not even be here. You know what I mean? All right, so I had gone to a few counselors after I had hit another rock bottom, because I hit a lot, man. I hit like 6, 7, 15, whatever, a lot of rock bottoms in order to stop drinking. I almost used the S word. So I tried therapy, and I figured out in therapy that, you know what, it's tremendously easy to manipulate a counselor in order to get them to believe what it is you want them to believe, because they're eager to think that they're healing people. I found that the easiest avenue in my favor to be like, you know what, I'm so well, I don't have to come here anymore. And it worked every single time. I'm not telling you go out there and manipulate your counselor, but I will say, for me, it's pretty daggone easy, because like I said, they're so eager to heal that sometimes they just don't stop to really listen. And I guess so, I'm probably tearing that up, but I quit drinking 365 times 1 year myself. That's hilarious, because if you don't get that, you quit drinking every day. Make sense? So that's funny. And you sound like you have a lot of wisdom. I mean, with 16 years under your belt, I'm climbing up on 8 years. It's not like we know everything at all, because we don't, and we're not unique, folks. We're in this together. But daggone it, we found a way to live without alcohol. We found a way to live in fulfillment without having to drink for it. Mr. Lobo writes, it's great to see he found what worked for him, and he finally realized that the drink was the problem. That's absolutely 100% true, because Mr. Lobo, days in my drinking history, I always made my drink about something else, someone else, or an event that happened to me that therefore I deserve to get drunk. And I have to erase these things from my mind, and that's the only way I'm going to do it, because that's the only thing I have control over. And that's absolutely true. When I learned that the drink, for me, when the drunk was the reasons I was in a lot of these predicaments in the first place, or I couldn't heal from past traumas because I was drunk, I learned that the drink was the problem for me. And therefore, I don't need that damn crap in my life. And I hope that if you're trying to quit drinking, I almost used the S word, if you're trying to quit drinking and you're trying to find better ways to live, I guarantee you it's not at the bottom of that bottle. And I just hope that you understand that there are ways that you can solve your life problems without having to drink over them. If you understand that, or you feel that, drop a comment below, because someone's going to get some of that when they see this blurry live stream later. Oh man, I always have that foolish. Let me tell you what, Mr. Lobo writes, if it wasn't for my brother, he terminated his life in 1987, I never would have noticed DB's me tactics. Mr. Lobo, I'm so sorry for your brother. I know that there's no such thing as going back in time, I do know loss, but not that close. Um, my father-in-law has dementia right now. Things are happening in our little part of the world that, you know, it's it's hard to watch, and I can only imagine how you still feel about losing your brother. So I appreciate you sharing that, and I definitely, you know, God rest his soul. And if you don't believe in God, folks, rest his soul. But anyway, thank you for that comment. Holomovic, tearing these names up. What to do when people like you, when you are drunk and a little high, but not when you are sober, dull, and unproductive. Hang on. What to do when people like you, when you are drunk and a little high, but not when you are sober and dull and unproductive. I think I understand that. Let me know if I misinterpreted, because I don't want to missay what I think you said. What do people like me when I'm not drinking, when I am living without alcohol? What do I do when the boredom kicks in? That's a great question. You know what? For me, I have this bad habit of picking up a whole lot of hobbies. I pick up a whole lot of hobbies that I probably shouldn't be doing, and unfortunately at my age. You know, I'm going snowboarding, I'm mountain biking, I'm playing the drums, I do YouTube, I share with you guys. I take part in my family's life. I smile at the small things. I appreciate nature. I go for walks. I do things that I didn't put the motivation into while I was drinking. That's what I do when the dull moments kick in. I find other things to fill my time that I would have done while I was drinking, but I never did, because I always had this laundry list of all these great things I'm going to accomplish. I never accomplished one of them because I was always drunk. And when I got the opportunity to actually fulfill that list and actually like start checking off those books, it's freaking amazing. And it is amazing what living with that alcohol gives me. Get out, enjoy life. That is what life is about. Absolutely right, Mr. Logo. Absolutely right. Get out and enjoy your life. Because for me, and hey guys, you still there? I completely lost the stream. I apologize for this whole up close and personal look of me. Hey, let me know if you guys are still there. That was absolutely ridiculous. I shifted fire over to my sofa because it seems like I have a little better stream over here. Although I'm like mad close now. So, you guys still there? All right. So, I don't know if you guys can hear me. All right, meine Freunde. We are definitely developing some huge technical difficulties, and I'm hoping it will clear up a little bit. StreamYard says I'm still live. Is that the case, folks? All right, so first I want to apologize to you guys, and hopefully this is not a horrible thing here. Okay, let me put this iPad way over here, and maybe that will help. Maybe that may drop, I don't know. In any case, I lost my train of thought, and hopefully you guys are still there, and hopefully we can still move on. Okay, so Mr. Lobo, hopefully we're live. Mr. Lobo still writes, so I'm guessing when you were at Riley, you never really noticed that I kept getting cans that were already consumed. You know what? What he's talking about, folks, and my little microphone fell off. This is fantastic. What he's talking about is when I was at Fort Riley and I was living with this person, I used to try to get him to drink like me, and I used to get him, to party all night and everything else. And I think he was 10 years older than me at the time, and I was still trying to get him, to party like a rock star. And even though we had things we had to fulfill and even things we had to, do the next day, and missions we had and everything, I would party, I would drink until there was nothing left. And Mr. Lobo, what he just stated is that his cans were most times empty, and or I'm pretty sure sometimes he had water in them or something else. Meanwhile, in the Batcave, I was still getting absolutely smashed like every single night. And it's unfortunate that he had to witness that, and it's unfortunate that I had to put him in that predicament of, I was his boss, and I had to put him in that predicament of taking care of me, because that's not how that's supposed to work, right? But that's the insanity of alcoholism, folks, and that's the insanity of, the ego and the selfishness that comes along with alcoholism, and that's what he's talking about. He still parties like a true biker at 57. Right on, bro. But back to the subject at hand, my friends. So I tried the therapy, and I found out that I can manipulate counselors, and I tried like one-on-one counseling, and that started to work. That started to break down walls that I had up, and that started to allow me to verbalize some of the things that I went through in my life that led me to having to rely on self-medication in order to fix it. Self-medicating with alcohol, that is. And Mr. Lobo writes, honestly, I think it was fate that we met. I wholeheartedly agree with that, Dave, because, there are so many people in my life that if for some reason, some happenstance, we didn't meet, I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't be delivering this live stream to you guys. I'd probably be in my grave, probably be dead by now, because I did a lot of reckless things. I made a lot of enemies, and I was very selfish and egotistical. And that's how, and if you don't believe in God, that's your thing, but that's how spirituality for me works, is that sometimes you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And I was talking about this last week with Steve and a few other folks, and Shane, and I was just saying, sometimes we're exactly where we're supposed to be, and the support that we can give each other is out of this world. And without Dave's support, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And Dave, thank you so much. And why did I have that hat earlier, my friends? And the stream still hasn't caught up on YouTube, I don't think, but that's okay. Why did I have the once over to another hat? Well, because my buddy over at Second Chance Recovery, the Irish guy, this morning sent me this thing on Instagram of him making a cup of coffee, and on the coffee cup was my logo from the original channel build that I did here on YouTube a bunch of years ago. And I wanted to thank him for sending me that, because I totally forgot that. And this is not a plug either, so don't read into this. I totally forgot I set up a Streamlabs, and I totally forgot that I had merchandise on there. That was like a silly, like, early on YouTube thing that I did. But I'm not telling you guys to go buy anything. Don't buy anything because you feel like you have to. Don't buy anything that is sent to you like in a strange link at all. But if you want to support the channel, give a super chat or something like that. All the proceeds, every single dime, goes into one account, and that one account is for building a rehab facility for veterans, absolutely free. And it's also aside, not just for veterans solely, but I will allow, let me rephrase that. People who can't afford rehabilitation and they're in Europe, they'll be able to go there as well. And this is in the making. I'm starting to get some momentum on this project, and my goal is to get some investors on board. I'm working that as we speak, in order to make this a reality before I don't have the opportunity to do it, because I am 48, and you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I'm trying to get this going. But anyway, let me see if I can see a few more comments here, and then I'll tell you the rest of the build-up story. Okay, this is from Isho, and I said it wrong, I guess. The roller coaster ride of my brain rebalancing for the first 6 months was hard, but knowing it was going to happen and get better each month made it worth the wait. 100%, because parts of my brain are actually still being they're rejuvenating themselves, and part of my memory is coming back. So I'm able to remember a little more about things that happened, through the years. Because honestly, I did a 20-year career and I can't remember most of it. So hopefully I get those memories back and I'm able to share them with you. And yeah, things like that. The faculties will come back. The dullness will wear off the longer you don't drink. And if you don't pick up a drink, you might not have the same problem you had yesterday from the last drink that you had. Weird. All right, so off topic before I carry on. Isho, I totally appreciate you, bro. Or that. But anyway, so before I go on, who are you guys picking for the Super Bowl? I'm picking Kansas City because 49ers haven't been in the limelight for a little while. I think their last win was a fluke, but that's just me. And I'm going with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes in the limelight for a while. He's had a bumpy year, but I think they're going to take the Super Bowl. But I'm not going to watch the highlights tomorrow because I know I'm not staying up till 4 in the morning. Another good point of not drinking is that I get really decent sleep, and I say that a lot here on this channel. I fall asleep in about 48 seconds once my head hits that pillow. All right, Mr. Lobo. Mr. Lobo writes, I have to say, very proud to see he has changed his ways. Unfortunately, we had to break ties. Hopefully, all of you that are fighting this controlled substance addiction find what helps you to get out. Yeah, that's very true. A lot of us, and this is the harsh reality of alcoholism and addiction, a lot of us don't make it out. A super chat. It's I don't know if that's on here or not. I'll share that with you a little bit later. So back to what I was saying real quick, and I'll come back to that, Halamovic. I didn't forget about you. I'm not rubbing you out. I'm not dismissing it. A lot of us don't make it out of addiction. A lot of us don't make it out of alcoholism. And the grim, unfortunate truth is a lot of us die. And a lot of us will die alone. And a lot of us will leave families behind. And it's very sad. That's the harsh truth. I know a lot of folks. I know too many folks who have lost loved ones to this disease of alcoholism. And it's so unfortunate, and it hurts me to know and to learn when someone dies of this disease. And if you believe it's a disease or not, that's aside from the point. But it's sorry, I get a little emotional about this. You know, I've known a few people that were found in their homes dead from this disease, and they had been there for weeks, and it's absolutely grotesque to have to go out like that, especially with so many ways to reach out and get support and get the connection and get, you know, the education on alcoholism, the education on addiction. You know, we can have all these resources at our fingertips, but if we don't reach out, if we don't say, you know what, this is not working for me anymore, and I don't want to do this anymore, then nothing is going to change. And that's where the metal meets the meat is, when is it going to be enough? And this goes to the last stream. When is enough to make you say, I'm done with this, I can't do this anymore, please help me? And that's the reason why I'm working on this this rehab facility, is because there's a lot of folks that get kind of lost in the whirlwind of society and cast out to the side because they're an alcoholic or an addict, and nobody really wants to help them. As veterans, you know, we have these same resources, but they're a little bit harder to reach here in Europe. So that's the reason why I want to build a facility here in Europe, is because of the accessibility that it will provide for veterans and folks who can't afford it. In the States, I mean, the resources are everywhere, but if someone doesn't deliver you the truth and they want to spin it to meet their own needs, then I'll be honest, if it were me, I'd be like, you're full of crap. I don't want anything to do with this. Especially if someone is being self-serving in Alcoholics Anonymous, in a treatment facility, whatever it is. If the person who is supposed to be helping you has an agenda, that sets up an immediate barrier, and I can understand the apprehension of reaching out. But I will tell you this, on almost every video that I have links, and those are readily accessible for you to, you know, I'm gonna turn the iPad off because that gets messing up the screen. That are readily available for you to use right now. And I got them for Europe, I got them for the States, I have international resources. So, I mean, if you're in that boat and you need some help, like now, check out those resources, because that's what they're there for. Lastly, you guys are amazing. StreamYard is going to cut off in 3 minutes. I didn't get to finish this, but I will, of course, check out later. And hopefully, if you guys got some later, some comments that are after this ends, just know that I appreciate you. If you've gotten any value from today's live stream and it wasn't too choppy, consider subscribing. Mr. Lobo, man, I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for being here. And thank you to all of you who have chimed in. Aisho, Mulovich, Steve. Let's see if I can get to all this before it ends.
I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate the things you do. If you need any help from me, anything that I can provide, don't get out of hand now. Crazy. Just hit me up at onesobertoanother@gmail.com, and I'll definitely respond to you. If not, drop it in the comments below. I will get to them as fast as possible. You guys have a good night. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Dave, thank you. And I will talk to you guys later. Life is a daggone garden. Dig it, and guess what? You get to watch me hit the end button. Have a good day. Boop.